And I'd just like to also welcome everyone who's joining us online on Facebook and YouTube. So if you haven't been to one of these before or participated, it's a very interactive format. We just want to make sure that we keep it very respectful and that we're raising hands and we're coming over to you with the microphone so that you can ask your question. I know we're in a smaller room, but it's really important that we're using the mic because the audio comes through very clearly for the live broadcast. So I will just pass it over to Mayor Collier, and we have a really fun evening planned for everyone, so thanks again for joining us.
All right, am I on? I think I turned, can you hear me? Okay. Welcome everybody, thank you very much for coming. Welcome to the Quaker Meeting House. I'd like to start off, thank you Rachel, introducing a few members of my council who are here. We have Regional Councillor Joanne Dyes, Local Councillor Ashmead Khan, Local Councillor Rob Tyler Morin, Local Councillor Lisa Bauer, Marilyn Crawford's on her way. Sterling Lee had to leave. He's got another meeting going on. And did I miss anybody? I think that's everybody. But thank you guys for coming. It's great to have the support of our council here for these events. Thank you very much, everybody else, for taking time out of your busy nights to come and spend time with us here and engage in the community. I'll tell you a little bit about this building, the Quaker Meeting House. This is one of the oldest buildings in Ajax. We just finished the renovations of this building. We did the grand opening earlier this spring, and we're trying to move the Live with the Mayor events. This is the third installment. The fourth one will be December 3rd, I think. And we've been trying to move them around and highlight some of our buildings. And so we had the last one at the St. Francis Centre. The next one is going to be at the Audley Rec Centre, which is just opening shortly, the phase 2 as well. So we're trying to move things around, spice them up, make them interesting, and you know, not have the same thing each time, kind of break them up. So I hope everybody brought some really hard questions. And I hope our staff prepared some harder questions for the trivia if we do that again, because those were a bit easy last time. And no, there's exciting times. In Ajax, a lot of really, really exciting things are happening. I'll just tell you about a couple. I don't know if anybody gets the NRU publication, the Novae Res Urbis, it's Latin, which is a planning publication. But if you got the one last week that highlights events and things that are happening around the GTHA, half of it was about Ajax. And it talked about such things as our tech hub that I'm going to show you a video about in a second. It talks about the changes we're making to the Planning Act to streamline the planning process and get rid of the red tape and move things through quicker and more efficiently and get shovels in the ground. I just got this today. I don't know if anybody's ever seen this Business Expansion magazine. National magazine, Canada, US. If you look here, little article right here talks about launching the talent rocket in Ajax, Ontario. But then if you look here, this is really interesting. So, Ajax Advantage, and we didn't pay for this. This is being recognized on a national platform of some of the things that we're doing here in Ajax. So really exciting times. We've spent as a council probably the first 10 months putting a lot of new ideas into the hopper and just filling it up and filling it up. Because if you only try one thing and it doesn't work, you're out of luck. But if you try 20 or 50 or 100 things and 10 or 20 or 30 work, to me that's success. You got to keep trying new things, keep thinking of new ideas. We've got a great team with our council and we're doing a lot of interesting things. Now after 10 months of putting stuff in, we're starting to see results come out the other end, which is really, really exciting. So we're going to have a lot of great announcements coming up in the near future. And I think it's going to be a great ride. So that's enough for me. Let's get everything started. Does anybody have any? Before
we get started, do you want to show that video?
Yeah, let's run the video. And I'm sure people have some questions about this. Awesome. Come on, that was great. Our staff took an idea that was just that, like a year ago, a year and a half ago, it was just an idea, and they ran with it, and they've really, really hit it out of the park. And that's probably the first of many, many really exciting announcements to come. So the building you're in right now, downstairs is one of the 4 buildings we're going to use for the new Innovation Village. Technology is the future. Education is very, very important. And partnering with people like Durham College, with the X Labs at OPG, Alexicon, Gordon Foods, a lot of other different partners that we've been working with, this idea has grown and really become reality. So once we get through the budget process next year, hopefully we'll be putting shovels in the ground, getting this going. One of the other buildings we're going to use for the Innovation Village, which is made up of 4 buildings, is the Mill Street Fire Hall across the road, which is another town-owned building, the St. Francis Center, and the Village Library once it's decommissioned in October this year. So very, very exciting. Yes?
Where will you be showing that film? What is the plan?
This has been shown a few times. This was shown at Council for the first time on Monday when we got this, because we only just got this presentation on Monday. So we've approved this at Council on Monday. Now it's going to go to budget. I just introduced this. This is my 3rd event in the last hour. So at 6 o'clock I was at St. Francis Center for an AI in healthcare seminar put on, again, with our partnership with Durham College, AI Hub, and introduced it and showed it there as well. And I'm sure we're going to be probably showing it a lot more throughout the next few weeks because it is very exciting. I'd like to show it at Regional Council as well to show some of the things we're doing at our next meeting. So yeah, a lot of good stuff happening. Yes, sir?
So I'm just going to come over to you with the mic so you can...
It'll be on social media tomorrow, I'm quite sure.
Congratulations on the video and your initiatives. I was reading today's paper. It was talking about the burgeoning rents in the GTA. Mm-hmm. And as the cold weather approaches, I was wondering about the issue of homelessness in Ajax. I congratulate you on your gala to raise awareness and funds. Yeah. And just wondering what the situation was in Ajax for beds and stuff. As there's innovation and rents going up, it's harder for some with mental challenges and such to find a place to crash.
Okay.
So, thank you.
2 separate questions. Homeless and affordable housing are two separate things here. The homeless initiative, the gala that we held in June, we raised just over $120,000 towards our homeless initiative. And one of the things we used that money for was to go towards a vehicle that the Salvation Army, we partnered with them. They're going to purchase a community outreach vehicle that's equipped to serve meals and to bring all the services that those people are going to need, bring the services to them on the streets and in the tent cities and wherever they are. The other one we partnered with was Joanne's House, which deals with homeless youth. And homeless youth become homeless adults. So they have a program where they help the kids get them back into their family homes, actually, where they should be, and so they don't become homeless adults. My goal is not to create, and when you ask about beds, is not to create a environment where it promotes or helps grow a problem. What I want to do is figure out a way to get these people the services they need and get them back into the community. I don't want to enable at all, and that's sort of what we're trying to do, and we're trying to do it as respectfully as we can. We need to address the problem. Just holding the gala and raising some money and doing a few things isn't going to get us there. It's going to be a much longer approach. We have started by Councillors Bauer and Dye started in a homelessness task force, and there's probably 20 people on that, Joanne, something like that. I went in and said hi yesterday, and it was a pretty full room. And they're working on a lot of other initiatives. Like one of the things we did through the gala was we raised enough money to buy 15 lockers, because one of the things with homelessness is, you can't get a job, you can't do anything when you're carrying around your worldly possessions with you in a suitcase. You need somewhere to put it. So there's a program in Oshawa where they have lockers, so people have somewhere to put their stuff. They also have charging stations because everybody has their phone. The other thing is, if you are on social assistance, you can get a street rate, which is a very small amount if you don't have an address. But if you have an address, which the post office with the lockers form their address now, we're working with, is it CDCD? Hopefully, to coordinate that. We raise the money to buy the lockers. We're trying to figure out where they go and who's going to take ownership of signing the people up to use the lockers and that type of thing. So we've taken the first few steps. We have a long way to go. I don't have an answer for what we're doing for beds for the winter, but we do have places like the Salvation Army, some local church groups. I've been approached by a caterer in town that wants to prepare meals. We're just trying to figure out logistically how that's going to work. It's a work in progress.
I get it about enabling, but I would think if it's 30 below, if you're not alive to go look for a job the next day, like a bed can be a Band-Aid. It's not the outcome.
Yeah, I get it. I guess what I'm saying is I don't have any intention of bringing forward a shelter, but we are, warming stations, things like that, absolutely. We have emergency readiness plans. We have, the library opens their doors. We have arrangements with the community centers to use the showers.
Is the library an overnight opportunity, or?
Can you speak to that?
Yes, they are willing to do it for this winter as we work on a solution.
They can stay there overnight?
Yes, on the cold alert nights.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got about 30 people joining us online, so I just wanted to go to a quick online question on Facebook, and I know you touched on it briefly at the beginning, but Amanda is asking, what's the history of the Quaker House? She's curious.
Oh, all right, that's a tough question. Like I said, it's the oldest building in Ajax. This Mr. Rogers, no, Ted Rogers, I think his name. Timothy Rogers, sorry. Back in the day, this was the Quaker Meeting House. This is where everybody met. This was sort of the central location where all the farmers and everything came and met. We spent a lot of money bringing this up. We, like any century buildings, there's always a lot of surprises as soon as you open up the walls and everything. So we had to do a full foundation, full basement, full everything to get this back up to where it is today. We received some money from the federal government to help us with that. And yeah, that's what I know about the Quaker Meeting House, but it is historic. It is something that, on the other side, the Masonic Lodge, we've kept, and they still meet there. So this building was owned by the Masons, and they got to a point where they I think just could not afford the upkeep anymore, because century buildings are very expensive to maintain. So I think we bought it for a very reasonable price, like $1 or something, and the agreement was we outfit it, update it, we can permit this side, and they still get to use the other side. So we have another facility to use for community events. Yes, sir.
Can you tell me?
1867.
We exercise at McLean Health Centre. Yes. And if we were to go there over the recent months, there's a woman with about 6 pieces of luggage, well-dressed woman, a laptop, computer. There. I bring a friend from out of town, she says, what is she doing? I said, this is McLean Community Centre, and as such, she has every right to be there. That's what I've been told. What is the situation of seeing a woman like that in a place like ours?
I know exactly what you're talking about. I talk to her often when I'm in there, and I see her also in front of the gym that I go to by the Ajax Plaza, by the Good Life there. I see her often. And yeah, I often wonder how she gets her 6 pieces of luggage from there in front of the Ajax Plaza over to the McLean, but she does it, and she does it almost every day. So yeah, I think, I haven't asked. I don't know what her story is. I suspect she's maybe one of the homeless people that we have in Ajax, but very friendly, nice, isn't causing any problem, and you're right, she has every right to be there just like every other resident. It's a public place. If people were there and they were bothering people or causing a disturbance, we might have to do something about it, but as long it's up to every resident to use. So.
Her situation is very strange. She gets a ride from down by the bank.
Okay.
How she does it, if she gets Uber or there's different people that pick her up at different times. And she has sort of a circuit that she does.
Okay.
Goes to different places, hang out for a while.
Yeah,
But she's well-to-do, she has a laptop.
she's friendly, yeah, she's on her phone, yeah. Maybe she just likes
So I
hanging
think
out
we
at the
gotta-
community center.
I have a question over here on this side of the audience. I'm just going to
Okay.
pass you the mic.
I'm just wondering, are there going to be any low rental seniors apartments built instead of these Viva and Amica and all these ones that are costing a fortune?
Those are retirement residences. They're privately owned, and they're for profit. Are you talking about non-profit, like
The
regionally
nonprofit-
owned?
Well, the ones that used to build seniors apartments. I know there's a few of them in Ajax, and they're completely full, and they have a 10-year waiting list.
Yes.
I might be that little old lady walking along with the luggage pretty soon. No.
Well, let's hope not.
I heard, and just a rumor, I heard that those apartments that were built where Pat Bailey Square is, there's going to be low rentals in there. Is that correct?
Not low rent. Can we turn this down just a little bit? It's a bit echoey. Not low rentals. The second building of the Pat Bailey Square, the Vision neighborhood there, did receive a I think it's $65 or $66 million CMHC low interest loan. And part of the agreement of them receiving that CMHC low interest loan is that they provide units, 312 units in that building at a below market rate. So depends what market is. I was talking to somebody today, I had a meeting with a gentleman today. I have lots of meetings with people that want to come and build seniors housing, retirement residences. The issue is where? We don't have the land to do it. So, you know, I'll give you an example. We had Rivera, which is one of the large for-profit companies. They do build a great product. If you go up to the one at Westney and Roslyn, it's a beautiful building. Everybody seems very happy in there. I've been there a few times. They wanted to build a home on 3 acres of land, and it was in an employment area. And it would have had 300 beds, but it would have also had 300 jobs for staff because they're 24 hours, right? There's 2 shifts or 3 shifts. They can't build that in employment lands because that's considered residential. This is part of the red tape we have with the province, and this is the things we're trying to get through. I've talked to the ministers, Ministers Clark, Municipal Affairs and Housing, our own Minister Phillips, the Premier, saying we need a tool so we can address these issues, these 10% of the time when the Planning Act just doesn't fit, when the official plan just doesn't make sense. To me, 300 jobs is employment, but it's not. So you can't build that in an employment zone. You can only build that in a residential location. Well, we have very little residential property left in Ajax. All we're doing now, for the most part, is infill projects. And just because we don't have any more what's it called, greenfield lands. I didn't want to say green space, greenfield lands. So, and the opposite side is true. So if somebody wants to come and, say that somebody wants to come and build a 6-story office tower in the employment lands, totally allowed, okay? And what we want is for a target of 37 jobs per hectare. I prefer 50 jobs per hectare, which is easily reached. So say they want to build this six-story and it's going to produce 400 jobs. As far as I'm concerned, they've met the requirements under the official plan and the Planning Act because they've met the job targets. So if they wanted to build 10 floors of residential on top of that, to me, that's a bonus. That's producing 10 stories, another 250 units of condos, seniors housing, whatever you want to call it. But that's not allowed under the Planning Act. That's not allowed under our zoning bylaws, because that's now called mixed use. And in order to do that, so even though they've met the employment targets, and this is now just ancillary use, or whatever you want to call it, they can't do it without going what's called a municipal comprehensive review, which takes 4 to 5 years. So that's kind of some of the red tape, and that's why I've been speaking to our provincial partners and saying we need a tool that we can use to get through some of the red tape in these situations so we can move things forward, because we have people coming and wanting to build what you're talking about, but nobody wants to wait 5 years to do it. And then that's 5 years to get the shovel in the ground and another couple of years to do it. It's 7 to 10 years away. It's just, we've already got a 10-year waiting list. Yeah, they're not cheap. They're not cheap. Well, the other side of the coin is the region, we're the only province in Canada where social housing has been downloaded to the municipal level. Every other province, it's a provincial matter, because the province has the money to do it, and the federal government has the money to do it. Our only source of revenue is property taxes at the municipal level. So we don't have the money to be building seniors' residences. We need buy-in from the provinces and from the federal government to get these done. And it's coming, but it's, you know, the federal government got out of funding social housing in 2010. Now they're getting back into it, but it takes a lot of work.
Okay, so we're just going to go to another question online. This is from Chandel, and she's asking, when will the construction on Highway 2 be completed?
This year. She's talking about the widening to accommodate Durham Region Transit between Ritchie and Harwood, or the Loblaws, basically. Ritchie and the Loblaws, whatever that's not a street, the lights there. That is sort of the last phase of the widening for the BRT, for the bus rapid transit system through Ajax. Please be patient. It's the last step. It's almost done. This year is the answer.
Awesome. So we're just going to take a quick trivia break right now, and you have a chance to win a Live with Mayor Collier t-shirt, which Mayor Collier is modeling right now. So don't shout out the answer, but the first person to sort of raise their hand, I'll just call on you, okay? So Jay is just going to hold that up and come onto the center to show everyone. Okay, and the question is, Ajax is one of the most diverse municipalities in Canada. How many languages are spoken here? Hands up, hands up.
I said make the questions harder, not.
75? No, I don't think 75 is correct, but I think we're getting maybe closer. In the back there? 20? No, a little bit higher. Right here.
I think 60.
Getting warmer.
60, 62?
Okay, I'll take one more and then I've got to go to the closest guess. Okay, and I think the answer is 65?
I said 62.
So I think somebody said 70? Okay, I think that was our closest one, so we'll get you a t-shirt. Don't worry, we've got 4 more questions.
That was hard.
That is hard.
That was hard.
Everybody in council. Huh? Everybody in council was silent.
I knew it was 60.
Yeah, next question.
Well.
What is Ajax's current bicycle-friendly community status? Right there in the back, sorry? Pardon me? Silver, you got that right on the first guess.
Just awarded.
Pardon me?
We just were awarded from bronze to silver. We just moved up.
And we're looking for gold.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, next question. The international film circuit is, okay, this international film circuit is offered at the St. Francis Centre for Community Arts and Culture.
Got it.
So what is this film circuit called? Right there, yeah.
DTIF?
You got it, TIFF.
Is it TIFF or DIF?
Okay, I think we have 2 more. What is the town's signature cycling event? Someone who hasn't guessed yet. Anyone over on this side, over here? All right, go ahead. Say it again. Close, but no. That's an event of this popular cycling event.
It's not right with the mayor?
No.
One, yeah, right at the front there. You got it, Trail Fest.
Good job.
These were a bit harder.
Sean's name on it.
Just what you always wanted.
Yeah.
Okay, last one before we get back to the questions. Oh, this one's a good one. Name the highest point along the Ajax waterfront that hovering 20 meters above the Lake Ontario shoreline. In the back here, yeah. You got it, Lions Point.
Not Veterans Point.
All right, don't worry, there's still a chance to win. We will be doing another trivia break, and it's really important that you pay attention to our 30 Cues with the Mayor video because there are some hints in that video as well.
Are we doing that now?
I think we'll just take one question and then we can go into the video.
I'm gonna tell you a quick, since we're on the trivia, I'm gonna tell you a quick story, and my folks are here, I hope they don't mind, but they told me yesterday, well, too bad if you mind, I'm telling you. They're part of the Probus group, and they had a car rally. Was it yesterday? Okay, and so everybody know what a car rally is? You got to drive around and solve these clues and collect these things. So one of the questions was, who's the mayor of Ajax? And what's funny, that's not the funny part. The funny part was one of the people came and asked them, do you know who the mayor of Ajax is? I thought that was funny. Who is next with the question? Yes, Cecily.
Let me just bring you the mic.
I just wanted to understand a little more about this Innovation Village, how you foresee it, who will be using it, and how they will be using it, and does the town get rental from whoever's using it?
Okay. Most of the answer is I don't know yet, because it's still something that's in the works. Will we receive revenue? Absolutely. There will be, part of being an incubator and accelerator is people come in and you're helping people that have ideas and get their ideas to market. And having the 4 buildings, each building is going to have a different type thing. So the The Mill Street Fire Hall, or the mill as we're calling it in the Innovation Village, is going to be set up. We have a lot of logistics companies in Ajax, and a lot of people think logistics is just trucking. It's not just trucking. There's a lot more high tech to it. Automatic procurement, automatic order filling, drones that fly and count the inventory, robotic lifting suits, so one person doesn't have to keep lifting 100-pound boxes all day. They use actually robotic suits. There's a lot of different parts to it, and a lot of this equipment is not readily available on the market. So Gordon Foods, for instance, is one of the people that's looking to partner with us, can buy some of their equipment in Europe, but it's not exactly what they need. So if they need to modify that equipment, or they need to create something specific for their business, they'll be able to do that through here. And by being part of the Tech Hub, one of our partners is OPG. OPG has 300 plus engineers. As part of the Tech Hub, you have access to that knowledge. Okay, so it's knowledge sharing as well. Also, St. Francis Center will be used for things like pitching their ideas to the angel networks, the angel investors. Right? So seed capital, startup money. A lot of it is to do with training, because training is very, very important. The CTIA, Certified Threat Intelligence Analyst Program, is being taught in Ajax for the first time in Canada starting in October. That's part of our partnership with Durham College. Durham College will hopefully be a partner with us on this. And all the training will be done in the village library. So each one of these 4 buildings is going to have its own piece of the pie. And downstairs is about 8,000 square feet that's going to be developed into office space for boardrooms and that type of meeting rooms and that type of thing. So all these things are going to work together. They will pay for that space. Some will pay for the space because there's the incubator, which is people, say, straight out of school, for instance, has an idea, doesn't know, they have a great idea, but they don't know how to manufacture it. They don't know how, they need startup money. They need help advertising. They need help to get it to market. Then you have the accelerator program, which is Whitby has their 1855 they just opened, which is strictly an accelerator. So they take companies that are already creating $500,000 worth of revenue and help them get to that next level. Help them go public, help them really grow. All the people that are using their office spaces, I think they're allowed to be there for 1 year and they pay for that space. So it was asked, Sterling asked at council on Monday how we're going to monetize it. I don't ever expect this to actually generate free cash flow. If it covers itself, great. But the goal of this is to create jobs, to help companies and individuals get their products to market so they can open businesses in Ajax and hire Ajax people. And now pay taxes, and that's the goal. There's nothing saying they have to open businesses in Ajax, but that's the intent, that's what we want, and that's sort of how these things work. So hopefully it'll pay for itself. It should pay for itself. One of the other things that we have coming is a naming policy. What do we call it? Yeah, naming rights policy. So again, we might have, OPG might decide they want to pay us $1 million a year to call, the downstairs room the OPG something. Like, I don't care what they call it. If they give us $1 million, that's non-tax revenue that I don't have to come to the taxpayers and get through the taxes, right? So there's other things that we can get, as well as partnering with a lot of the other businesses in town to help subsidize this. Like OPG has done all our design work, all the engineering, a lot of the marketing at their expense. It hasn't cost us a penny to get this almost to where it is today. That's what I'm talking about when I talked about partnerships, right? It's about relationships, and that's what I've been doing for the last year, is just talking to people, building relationships, and trying to get these things moving forward. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. Perfect. So we're just going to take one more question before we move to our next video, and it's just right here.
Thank you. Well, this is a problem that's been with me almost since 1997 when I came here. I believe you were in our building about 4 years ago discussing this, and I'm talking public transit. I imagine everyone here drives. I don't. Mm-hmm. And it's a big, big eyesore. And every time it's improved, it's worse.
Which building are you in?
Before.
Which building are you?
I'm at Wesleyan Highway 2 in the condo tower.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
And I just feel every time I get a notice, it will be improved. It is worse than it was before.
Are you talking about the road work? Are you talking about the road work that's happening, or the?
No, I'm talking about transit.
Okay.
Yeah, including the community bus, because I used to take it to the hospital. I volunteered there for 16 years, but the way it keeps changing and getting worse, it's just too much for me.
Okay. Well, I chair Durham Regional Transit, so I know a little bit about it. And you're talking about the 291, the community bus. It used to be the 291 and the 292.
The 291.
And what happened, we had one ran this way and one ran this way. And they basically passed each other. So all we did was just get rid of the 292, and the 291 just keeps going. The service wasn't changed at all. We just took one of the buses out, and because there wasn't enough for 2 buses. But are you talking about the bus rapid transit along Highway 2? As well, or?
I'm not talking about Pulse, but I'm talking about the 292 that was taken away. So now there is no community bus that covers Highway 2 right through.
The route stayed exactly the same. It just became just the 291. The 292 was kind of a duplicate. It was a bit redundant. So the 291 follows the exact same route.
Yeah, but the 292
just might be a little bit different time, but it follows the same route.
And then I don't know what happened between Durham and the GO, because the GO bus was a big help too when it used to, let's say it came west from Oshawa, it would turn south on Harwood, go to Ajax Station, come back north on Wesley and head for Toronto and vice versa. So that helped a lot for people that were going to the old plaza, for instance. And that's gone too. I don't know what happened there. And I mean, I go to Toronto once a week. Their transit system is overloaded and they complain, but compared to Ajax, it is #1.
They also get a bulk of the provincial money for the TTC in Toronto. But I won't go there because we won't be political tonight. But to the GO, we used to have a arrangement with GO. Like we've been growing, transit will always be moving and always changing. If a route is not used, we have to look at reallocating those resources somewhere else where we're going to get better bang for the dollar, because we only recoup 32 cents on the dollar for transit. So 68 cents of every ride. So if you pay $3 to take transit, the real cost of that is about $7. That's what it really costs for the bus and the driver and the gas and the insurance and everything else. But the other 68% is subsidized through property taxes. So it is a subsidized service. Toronto is a bit different. Toronto gets about 74 cents on the dollar. So, and plus they get a heck of a lot of provincial funding that nobody else gets. There's always different rules for Toronto that nobody else gets. Whether it comes to policing, transit, development, they have their own land transfer tax that they get to use for infrastructure. There's a whole long list of special red light cameras, unmanned speed enforcement. Toronto has all these things that none of the rest of us can have yet, which I don't understand, but that's another story. But to the transit system, we used to have an agreement with GO where if you were going to an area where Durham Region Transit didn't serve, you could use your car, you could still transfer to a GO bus and it would take you that extra little way. But we stopped that because now we service all those areas. So the GO bus even costs more, right? We were losing money on it, but we were providing the service. Now that we're able to do the service ourselves, we've discontinued that GO partnership. The only place it's still effective is in Clarington because the Pulse route doesn't go all the way to the eastern part of Durham Region. So, but if you want to talk about transit routes, I'd be more than happy to sit down and talk to you about specific transit routes, maybe after, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's a great point. So there will be time after, at the end of the formal portion of the Q&A, to kind of just have some informal discussions with the mayor and the members of council who are present as well. But we're just going to take another quick break, and we're going to watch the latest 30 Qs with the mayor video.
Oh boy.
Hi, Sean.
Hey, how are you?
Good. It's September, fall is right around the corner, and 2019 has been very busy.
Very busy.
Let's get right to the 30 Qs.
Sure.
We're at Greenwood Conservation Area. Can you tell us about the history?
Yeah, Greenwood used to be part of the north part of the Brock landfill. TRC took over ownership, and the town of Ajax has a management agreement, and we've been managing this space for over 20 years.
What creek runs through here?
Duffins Creek, right down here, goes all the way out to Lake Ontario.
Highlight of the summer?
Just having some time off with the family up at the cottage.
Did you watch Bianca win the US Open?
Of course, she the North.
How does it feel to be back in fall session?
It's actually great to be back. I kind of missed it. It's the best job I've ever had, and our council and I were doing a lot of great things, and you know, I know there's a lot more to do, so it's great to be back.
Why is the AMO conference so important?
AMO is really important. It was in Ottawa this year, and it's an opportunity for us to go out and meet with the cabinet ministers and bring forward the very important issues that we have in Ajax, bring them to the forefront, build those relationships. Also, as far as regional issues, things like transit, and provincial issues that affect us all through LUMCO. So it's just a great opportunity to move our agendas forward.
Tell us about the CISO conference.
CISO conference in Niagara Falls was immediately after the AMO, and cybersecurity is such a huge issue these days. We all know of problems even as close to home as Burlington, where there's been fraud and they've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. We want to make sure we protect Ajax from that.
Any big announcements come out of that?
Very big announcement. The CTIA training, Certified Threat Intelligence Analyst. First time in Canada this course is being run, and this is part of our partnership with Durham College and the AI Hub.
Council just improved an exciting initiative, Innovation Village.
Yeah, we did.
And where's it going to be located?
It's going to be located in Pickering Village.
What buildings?
We have 4 town-owned buildings. We have St. Francis Centre, the Village Library, the Quaker Meeting House, and the Old Mill Street Fire Hall that we're going to convert.
What's the focus?
Focus, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, virtual reality, and anything else that the businesses that partner with us need to bring to the table.
Why are tech hubs so important?
Oh, technology is the future, and we want to be very competitive. We want to be able to attract business, and we want to be able to give them that sort of that cutting-edge facility that they need to develop.
What kind of tech?
Well, we talked about artificial intelligence, virtual reality. We have a lot of logistics here in Ajax. People sometimes think logistics is just trucks. It's not. They have drones to count the inventory. They have robotic lifting suits. They have all sorts of other things that need to be developed.
Favorite fall activity?
I love to watch the leaves up at Algonquin Park.
Do you have any Thanksgiving traditions?
Part of my fall activities, we usually have Thanksgiving up at the cottage, and we go up and the beautiful view of Algonquin Park.
What's your favorite Thanksgiving dish?
Turkey, for sure.
Durham municipalities just participated in a Feed the Need challenge. Can you tell us about this friendly competition?
Absolutely. We were challenged by Whitby. Feed the Need is a very important organization. They provide food services to over 55 different organizations in Durham region, from food banks to shelters to soup kitchens and many others. Over 6,000 people a day access food through these organizations in Durham region. So it's very, very important, and we never turn down a challenge.
Pumpkinville is moving to Ajax Downs this year. Will it be back at Greenwood?
Yeah, it's just a one-year thing while we do the road over here, redevelop the road, and it'll be back in Greenwood next year.
When is ARC Phase 2 opening?
We had a few delays, and it's back on track, and it should be open this fall.
What amenities will be included?
Oh, wow, we've got the new large library, we've got some training areas, we've got the large conference room for banquet hall for different events and conferences.
With summer over, how's the war on litter going?
War on litter is going very well. In fact, today actually I received a really nice email from a resident again, and it's the first of many that we received. So when residents start emailing you and telling you how nice the town looks, I think we're on the right track.
Is the plastics ban next?
Yeah, plastics is, single-use plastics is a big issue. We just brought forward a motion. I brought it forward on Monday. It was approved. Single-use plastics are getting in our creeks, our waterfront, our parks. We just actually picked up a bunch over here. We really need to address this issue.
Ajax has so many great grassroots projects led by residents and not-for-profits. How can they access town support?
We have our Impact Ajax funding, which is funds that we've made available through our non-tax revenues from Ajax Downs. So we use those funds through Impact Ajax to help these sort of grassroots community efforts move forward and make things happen in our community.
I hear the Ajax Waterfront Trail is getting a new name.
It is, the William Parrish Waterfront Trail.
Ajax Council is everywhere.
We are. We're quite busy, very active, very involved. It's a great group.
When can we expect the launch of this term's strategic plan?
We actually had a presentation this last Monday, and it'll be launched this fall.
Have you picked a date for next year's Mayor's Gala?
I have, June 13th.
Anything else you'd like to tell us?
Well, we spent the first 9 months of this term of council just putting a lot of new ideas and initiatives into the hopper, and it's a really exciting time because we're starting to see results, and there's a lot of great announcements coming very soon, so stay tuned.
Can we do this again before the end of the year?
Absolutely, anytime you like.
Awesome. Have a great day.
Thanks, you too. Right, so that was
awesome. Yeah. Okay, so we're just going to take a quick question from online again from Facebook, and then we'll come back to our audience. So this is a question from Francie, and she says, Durham Transit Special Services is amping up to start taking away services from individuals who need it the most. What are you and council prepared to do to protect our most vulnerable citizens?
I would like them to be more specific and give me an example of exactly what they're referring to, because I'm not aware of us reducing anything on social services. They may be talking about 95 Bailey. 95 Bailey, as many may know, is a major medical facility, and a lot of people go there for a lot of different things. And we've got one of our transit routes, the 921, the community bus actually runs right through there. And the issue is, we've gone with transit to, we used to have 30-foot buses and smaller buses. Now we've gone to all 40-foot buses. Because if you only have one type, we only have to carry parts for one type, and it makes it a lot easier to have common throughout the fleet, and also a lot more cost effective. But a 40-foot bus trying to weave its way through that parking area, and especially right in front of 95 Bailey, where people always park and drop people off, and couriers deliver, and it's really a hazard, not only to people, but it's also a big liability to the region as well. And I looked into the stats on that, and 22 people a day use that route a day. So it just didn't make sense. So what we're doing is we're changing that route in another couple of weeks, and it's going to go straight down Bailey and not turn in and do that little route and come out by Ashley Manor on the other side. It's just too much liability. Somebody's going to get killed. What those buses, when they make a turn, you need a wide. Oh, see you, Tom. And you make a wide turn, and if somebody's there, crosswalk or something. So what we're doing is, a pad is going to be installed on Bailey and a shelter, and I'm going to talk to the I don't know if he's the owner, but the guy in charge of the Baywood Plaza there, and see if they will agree to put a crosswalk across, a lighted crosswalk across. So it's not a far walk. It's about from here to the parking area from where the bus stop will be, but it'll take them all out of that loop. I have had some feedback on that. That may be what they're referring to, but I'm not familiar with any cuts to social services. Special services, sorry. What special services are, for those that don't know, is if you are mostly seniors or disabled, and sorry, so I take back the mostly seniors, it's a lot of people with disabilities as well, can't get to the bus stop. We can arrange through special services. They'll actually come pick you up and take you to where you need to go. And but there is a bit of a system for it. You have to call a certain amount of time in advance and make arrangement for the pickup. And that was changed last year because there is a very high demand, and we're able to meet almost 100%. It's in the 90 percentile we're able to meet of the demand. So that's pretty good. And when we can't, sometimes we'll put them in a taxi if we don't have the facility to do it through transit. But I don't think there's any cuts. If there are, please have them send to me separately, and I'll look into it.
Perfect. Yeah, well, hopefully she's still listening, and if there's any clarification she can provide, we'll be able to follow up with her. Are there any other questions in the audience?
Azar?
Right here. Oh, sorry. We'll come back to you after.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for continuous connect with us by technology. This question on behalf of our Youth Talk and Youth Leadership Program. First of all, a lot of our youth are very excited the way technology coming in Ajax, and I think many people notice as you mentioned in your previous session that it's covered. So our youth question is, a lot of youth missing the AI session with, which you are conducting. So around 50 to 100 youth contacting me if the mayor can arrange one program where on their time after school, the AI session only for our youth. And they are very excited of the new hub for intelligence, artificial intelligence you built. So they want a tour for those areas where they can go and feel it. So we need your help and support for our youth to visit there, and they can learn more about artificial intelligence.
I think that's something we can definitely arrange. Let's you and I get together and talk about it, and I'll put you in touch with the right people at Durham College and AI, and we'll see if we can facilitate something. I'm pretty sure that's something we can arrange. I don't know how much I can talk about another initiative we're working on, but that is to get more training in schools. through AI and that as well. But that's very early, and I can't talk to, but it's another idea we're working on.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Mayor.
So we're going to take a quick trivia break. Okay, actually we'll do one question while they get ready for the trivia break, and I'll just go back over here for the question.
Last year, we had a bad winter.
Yeah.
Right? There's a school right back here, Lincoln Alexander, my daughter goes to. There's a house on the way, because we walk her to school every day, that didn't salt or shovel the snow. My wife called the city, I called the city, nothing happened. It took the school to call you guys before you came out, find the people. Why is that? And it took weeks. Also, if you walk, just look over there, right across the street at the Friends Cemetery, there's a bush outgrowing over the road. You guys cut the grass there, right? Mm-hmm. And the community center, the Mill Street one.
Fire hall, yeah.
Right? When kids walk down that side of the street, you can't see them if you're driving because the bush is outgrowing over the road. Why can't the city maintenance workers ever come by and cut it when they cut the grass?
We can. The simple answer is I didn't know about it, but now I know about it.
No,
it's easily done. But is that Ward 3?
Ward 1.
Ward 1? This person's going to come and give you their business card.
Okay, because also...
And this is the person who you call when you have any complaints about salt or overgrown bushes, and we do an inventory around town and cut back, because they do grow down over the sidewalks and stuff. And we do follow up on that, but we can't be everywhere. So if there's a complaint, reach out to your local councillor. He'll get the people involved and we'll get it done.
Okay, because every year also, when you guys plow Kingston Road, the sidewalks keep getting torn up. Why?
What do you mean keep getting torn up? Like the grass?
No, the sidewalk plow. The guy comes by, he's not plowing half the sidewalk, he's plowing half the lawns.
Okay.
And I've called you guys last year and the year before. You come by, you fix it in the spring, but like, if I make the same mistake year over year at my work, or anyone does, there's no job security. Yeah. It's the same thing happening year over year.
It's going to happen from time to time. I mean, when you've got a foot of snow, you can't see exactly where the sidewalk is. It's going to happen from time to time. But, you know, we'll fix it. Yeah.
All right, let's go to trivia, and then we'll still have time for another few questions. So Jay is going to come up to the front again with the questions.
Ah.
Okay, so I hope everyone was paying attention to the mayor's video. What creek runs through Greenwood Conservation Area? Duffins Creek. Where is Pumpkinville taking place this year? Ajax Downs, you got that right. Just for 1 year only though, while the construction continues at Greenwood. Okay, if you haven't won a t-shirt before, you really got to put your hand up. I'm looking at the back row. The Ajax Waterfront Trail is getting a new name, true or false? In the back there. True, the William A. Parrish Waterfront Trail, and there will be a special event coming up in early October for that. I think we have two more. Go ahead.
Yeah. Look up the date of that.
Name a building included in the new Innovation Village. Maybe not the one that we're in, but another one. Right in the front row. St. Francis Center, you're correct. One more question. How can residents and not-for-profits access town support for grassroots projects? I only see one hand up. Yep. Yeah, Impact Ajax, and the applications are still open until October 24th. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate that. And it's about 7:51 now, so we're going to start to wrap up. So if you do have any questions, now's the time to raise your hand. And if we don't have a time to get to you, there is some time afterwards just to enjoy some light refreshments and speak to the mayor and members of council.
I'll take this lady's question, but I just want to talk quickly about the William A. Parrish Trail. This was something that I brought forward earlier this year because nobody has done more as far as moving Ajax forward than Mr. Parrish. And it was something I was thinking about for a while. And the waterfront trail, he started that back in his day, which was back in the 60s, and without that initiative, all future councils have followed suit as we've been assembling, but he was the architect behind that in the beginning. He brought the first water treatment plant to Ajax and a number of other things, and was a real advocate for the environment and for the waterfront and everything else. So I felt that was fitting. So that's happening on October the 6th. And that will be at the Rotary Park. Do you know the time? 11 o'clock, I think. So we'll be doing the presentation there. The Parrish family will be there. They didn't know anything about it till we brought it forward, till I called Steve and told him that this is what we were doing. And so they'll all be there as well. It's 11 o'clock. So I hope you'll join us because it's going to be a really special day. And you know, remembering a really special Ajax resident. So yes, and you had a question.
There you go. Oh, sorry. When are they going to fix at Rotary Park the part that got washed out?
Washout? Yeah. Soon, but it's expensive. So we are, again, I think it's part of, we have to go through TRCA before we can go ahead and do that as well. I'm not sure, but we need to go through a process. We can't just go and fix it. We have to go through a process first. It has to be designed. I think we're looking at, does it make sense to just do it as is, or are we going to do it differently? Like the 3 parts that washed out 2 years ago, we moved those in because it didn't make sense to leave them where they were, because if it eroded to there and we put it, it might erode next year. So we moved. So it's a process that has to be followed. I'm hoping it's done this year. It might be in the spring. Not sure. Yeah, it might be a budget item. We have emergency reserves that we can use for things like that outside of budget, but it might end up having to be a budget item, depending on what we do. We've applied, I'll go a little step further. We've applied for a number, one of the things, we had a tax increase this year, 4.93%. And part of that was hiring 18 new positions because we recognized that we've had a lot of status quo budgets over the last 10 years. Status quo meaning 1 3/4, 2%. Those are sort of treading water, same old budgets. Like that's just maintaining services, nothing new. That's just what it costs with a bit of inflation. But what happened is the town continues to grow. We have more roads, we have more parks, we have more facilities, we have more work, but the same amount of staff. So we had fallen behind in a number of areas, and so we had to do a catch-up with that. And from a budgetary type of thing, I lost my place. I'm trying to think where I was going with that. From a budgetary thing, we have to. Sure, I lost my place. Grants, thank you. One of the people we hired, thank you. One of the people we hired was, I was thinking about 10 things at once. One of the things we hired was a grant writer. And that person their sole purpose is to research and write federal and provincial grant applications and look for non-tax revenue, free money. And I had a report this morning on all the applications that have gone out, and there's many. I think this person will pay for themselves 20, 30, 50 times over. It's great. But one of the things that we've applied for is funding to address that area and make the connection across again and change a little bit. So it may be hinging on that as well. I don't know the full answer, but that's my guess. Thank you, Cecily, for bailing me out on that one.
So I just got a question online here, and I think it's getting some likes, so I think the audience online is really looking for an answer for this one. So with the explosive development ongoing north of Church and Roslyn, Church itself has become a consistent gridlock. Are there plans to widen the street or connect surrounding roads to create relief?
Of course, yeah. Talking about the development in the A9 area up north of Roslyn, that's the... Is that Coghlan? Yeah, it's Coghlan up there. And next year, we'll be replacing the bridge, I believe, going over the Duffins. And so that is going to be replacing the bridge, taking out that great big drop like this, just north of Roslyn, widening it as well to facilitate more traffic. So sorry, there's going to be some construction Good news is Riverside is done. Maybe head up that way and come across. But yeah, that will be done, and I believe it starts next year.
Okay, we have time for one last question.
Well, I'm going to Ajax High next year, and I was wondering if there's like a bus system that's going on Harwood that would take me closer to the high school so I don't have to walk the whole time.
Where do you live? What street?
Clover Ridge.
Clover Ridge. Okay,
west.
so you're going to take the 224 Harwood. It's going to go across. I went to Ajax High School and I took the 224 Harwood, just so you know. Take the 224, I don't know if it was the 224, I think it was called the Harwood route or the beach route back then. But anyway, the 224 Harwood goes right through and comes straight up Harwood and comes along Bailey, I believe. So that's the one that will bring you right there. Yeah, and just go to DRT, I'm not sure it's DRT.com, but Durham Regional Transit, Google it, and the schedules and everything are on there. And I believe that bus comes every 20 minutes. All right? Well, let me go one step further on that, because that's another thing that I've been working on as part of transit. Everybody remembers probably, I think it was 8 years ago, 7, 8 years ago, when the school board switched over to yellow buses away from transit. You know, they made a business decision. They received a certain amount of funding from the province, and they decided that they could do it cheaper themselves rather than do it through transit, because we had a subsidized, a reduced fare student pass. And we had to raise the price on the student pass, because if your regular adult fare is only 32 cents on the dollar, the student pass was about 12 cents on the dollar. So it was mostly subsidized by property taxes, and we had to make a business decision of our own. So throughout that time, I've been pushing hard to get us back in touch with the school boards and see if we can figure out a way to have a student pass and get those students, the high school students, not the public school, the high school students back on Durham Regional Transit. I'm happy to announce we've had those preliminary discussions with the school boards, and we've signed, I think, non-disclosure agreements, and we're in the process of swapping information because we need to see their contracts and all that other stuff. And I'm hopeful that we can put together a student pass, a reduced fare student pass, to get those kids back onto Durham Regional Transit. Because if you have kids like mine that are involved in sports and other stuff, if you're on a yellow school bus, it only comes at 2:30, and you have a track meet, well, now you have no way to get home, right? Whereas if you have a student pass, the bus comes every 20 minutes, right? So it's a much different service, much better service. So it's a matter of us trying to figure out, I figure we'll make up in volume what we'll lose in revenue. And that's my goal. So we're working very hard towards that. We made a lot of progress, and I'm hoping in the next year we will be able to get to a student pass. I can tell you one thing that we are doing is we have what's called an access pass. So if you're on ODSP, Ontario Disability, you can get an access pass for about $45, and it allows you full transit use everywhere, 24/7 whenever they're running. But if you're on Ontario Works, social assistance, or you're a low-income person, you don't have that same access. So we've figured out a way to broaden the access pass to also apply to people who are on Ontario Works or low income. So they will also be able to access that, that reduced fare, presto. We have a couple other things. One, earlier this year we started the Children Under 12 Ride Free, and we've had a lot of success with that. That's really increased ridership, so that's good. Again, if you're a low income person or something and you go on the bus and it's $3.75 for yourself, but you got to pay for your 2 kids, it's $10 there, $12 there, $12 back, and then you might as well take an Uber, right? So by getting rid of those child fares, we are having more people, more adults ride, and we're getting more cars off the road. And the other thing we've just done over the summer is we offered July, August, when it's not school, ridership goes down for students, obviously. We offered a 2-for-1. So if somebody bought a pass in July, it was good for July and August. And we had a lot of uptake on that. So that was a sort of a 50% off. And now in September, we've just announced a loyalty program where if you agree to get the pass every month, we basically give you 2 months free. So instead of paying $93 or whatever it is, you're paying $70, I think, and we'll keep it. We build that 2 months free in, and as long as you keep renewing your Presto every month, you'll keep that reduced $70 fare. But if a student stops using it, then they go back up to the $90. Okay, so we're trying a number of different things to try and get more students on transit, and you get students on transit at a young age, and they're going to use transit as they get older. So it's kind of training them as well.
Great, so we're just going to actually wrap it up now. I'm going to just turn it over to you for closing remarks, and like I mentioned, there is time afterwards if you didn't get your question answered to chat with the mayor and members of council. So turning it over to you for final remarks.
Okay, well, I mean, this was installment 3. Installment 4 is it December 3rd?
Yes,
okay.
at Audley Recreation
At the
Center.
Audley Rec Center, 7 o'clock, December 3rd. So, but if you do have more questions, I mean, this is only an hour. It seems like 5 minutes. Feel free to reach out. I mean, very easy to reach. I'll leave a bunch of business cards back here, and call me or call your counselor, and I'd be glad to answer any of your questions, whether by email, by phone, by in person after this meeting. And again, I wasn't avoiding any questions like the transit question, but for specific things that are only to one individual, I'd rather, like, let's just meet outside of this group. Let's focus on broad issues. So I'll meet with those residents after and hopefully answer those questions a little bit better. But I'm always available to meet and talk. And anybody have access to social media? Anybody? Okay, so you can see that we're out in the community. We're out a lot. You can reach myself and all of council that way. And we're trying to be very, very accessible and very open and very transparent so people can see what we're doing and reach out to us. And, you know, through communication, you know, we know what we're doing wrong and what we're doing right and what we need to focus on. And, you know, we're a community and we need to work together. So, and to the gentleman who's asking about those things, you need to let us know about those things because we can't be everywhere. I drive around a lot. I take note when I see litter. I call it in. And we've got this great app called AppJacks. If you go to the Apple Store or the Google Store, you look up AppJacks, and the app, you can actually report any issues. If there's a pothole, you take a picture of it, and the GPS will tell us exactly where it is, right? And we'll be able to send staff out to fix that. So we're doing what we can to try and you know, be as responsive as possible, but work with us. Some people try and shame us on social media. That's not the best way to do it. It's better to reach out and just tell us about the problem, and we'll get to it as quick as we can. So thank you very much for coming. Hopefully we'll see you on December 3rd, and I'll stick around and talk.